Security is top on our agenda this week on Dateline Abuja, with calls for better synergy in Abuja's security architecture to stop criminals from neighboring states from invading the nation's capital and to clamp down on the criminals terrorizing FCT residents, especially this one-chance crime that seems to be rearing its ugly head again following the Yuletide. In our focus on the FCT, we look back at the cases we've covered on this terrible crime and the recent stories of residents who have sadly lost their lives as a result of these robbers and kidnappers, commonly called one-chance operators. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. We begin with our Abuja wrap as President Bola Tinubu is in Abu Dhabi marketing Nigeria's green transition drive at the Sustainability Week. And we celebrate our troops on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
Vice President Kashim Shettima led government officials and dignitaries to the wreath-laying ceremony to round up the week-long activities for the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. The leadership of the National Assembly, the Chief Justice of Nigeria and service chiefs were among those who joined the Vice President in paying their respects and honoring the sacrifices of the fallen military officers and veterans. The program, which is organized yearly to commemorate the country's fallen heroes, also witnessed a gun salute and the releasing of pigeons at the National Arcade, Eagle Square, Abuja. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his commitment to the welfare and dignity of the nation's armed forces. In a personal message to mark the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day, the president said Nigeria pauses to honor its heroes. He said, quote, "We remember the brave men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces who sacrificed everything for our country. Their names might not always be remembered, but their courage sustains our freedom and peace. A nation that forgets its fallen heroes loses its direction. Nigeria, however, remembers." End of quote. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates for the 2026 edition of Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit. President Bola Tinubu has again called for equitable climate finance and robust capacity building for developing countries that will help them support true climate commitments without losing focus on advancing their development and priorities. The president made this advocacy while delivering a keynote address on the first day of the ongoing Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week in the United Arab Emirates.
The foundation of every modern economy is electricity. As an emerging economy in the global south, we understand the delicate balance between industrialization and decarbonization so that one is not pursued at the expense of the other. We are calling for a fundamental shift in global financial architecture. A move away from the restrictive requirement of sovereign guarantees, which unfairly penalize developing countries.
Alarms are being raised across board over the resurfacing of criminals who lure unsuspecting passengers into commercial vehicles to rob, assault, or kidnap them in an operation popularly known as One Chance. FCT residents worry that entering a taxi could cost you your valuables, your identity, and even your life. Please watch this. This is the sight at every bus stop at the close of business every day in the nation's capital. People waiting for taxis, every type of taxi, to take them to their destination. This poor transport situation has been the bane of the existence of FCT residents for years, leaving everyone you see here vulnerable to what is now known as one-chance operators. Many of the taxis these residents board are not registered with any transport authorities. Have you ever faced any one-chance operators?
Yes, like 3 times now, from Lugbe to Secretariat. And I have like 2 colleagues who have actually gone through that one-chance stuff, and it's quite dangerous.
The transport situation is becoming worse and worse every day. What we entered yesterday is not where we are entering now. So We don't know how the government will intervene, but we just believe on God, because only God interference can help us in this country.
Despite the lack of public transportation, security agencies continually warn residents against boarding unregistered taxis to protect themselves from these one-chance operators.
One chance of sitting is what is remaining in the vehicle. That is the one chance. And because people will say, check a vehicle. If you see any vehicle, 3 people already, including a woman, because now they operate with 2 women, including a woman sitting at the back, 3 people already at the back, 2 people are in front. Don't enter. Because there's only one chance that remains, and you are the one chance that is remaining. You understand me? Don't enter. Because if you see a taxi, you will know. They have defective plate numbers. If you check the plate number of those one chance operators, you see their plate numbers are defective. You cannot easily read it. To open their door, you will see the doors can only be opened from inside, not outside. You understand? And many of them are now maybe golf, some of these small vehicles, they use rubber tint to tint the glasses. After operation, they can remove the tint. In the morning, they will put it back because it's rubber. So all these things, what we said, look out for it.
One chance is not like kidnapping. And like I said, one chance is what we can easily control. I don't subscribe to the fact that people blame security officers for one chance. We need to blame people who are not patient enough to board vehicles. There's no city in Nigeria, there's no big community in Nigeria that doesn't have a registered park. But people take things for granted. They don't want to go to park. We are so lazy to cross pedestrian bridges. We don't do it because we are lazy. And we take things for granted because what happens? No. We violate certain things at our own detriment. You don't need to stand by the roadside and flag down a vehicle, a marked vehicle. You flag down the vehicle, you see, as a young lady, you see almost 4 guys in this vehicle. You are the only female passenger in this vehicle. Yet you don't care. You join them to go. One chance operators, they just watch you. They don't carry arms. It's very rare they carry arms.
In Abuja, the notorious crime called one chance has brought so much pain to residents. Criminals posing as commercial drivers, robbing passengers before dumping them on the side of the road. And these days, the robbery doesn't end there. It becomes a high-speed trap where your very identity can be hijacked. Once inside the taxis, victims are held captive long enough for the gang to force them to unlock their phones, and then, using Nigeria's instant loan apps, the criminals take loans in the victims' names. Last year, we spoke to some victims still traumatized by their ordeal.
I shouted from the road where I was, Area 8, and the car was actually about moving before I shouted, and they stopped. So I ran to the vehicle. I said Area 8 again. They said, "You have change?" I said, "Yes, I have 500 and it's okay, enter." So there was a guy sitting close to the passenger side. So as soon as I opened the vehicle and entered, he shifted for me towards the other side. The guy in front came up with a knife, a jackknife, and was coming directly to me as if he was going to stab me on my chest. So I was not shouting. The one who shifted for me now tapped me with a gun and said, "Madam, the only thing that will save you here is cooperation. If you don't cooperate, we'll just kill you and push you out and nobody will know." So at that point, immediately he said that, the one that came with jackknife now tied my face, tied my hand, and they bent me over under the back chair where I was, and they covered me. Both of them covered me, and the vehicle was moving. I didn't know where they were moving to, but they grabbed my bag and my phone, and they started asking me questions, my BVN number, my NIN, my account details, and how many banks do I operate, where do I work, what level am I, and all that.
The things I saw before, they tied our eyes and our hands, and they overpowered us and started torturing us, beating us up, and asking us to cooperate. They were saying so many things that if we don't cooperate, that they would send us to Baba, then Baba house, and Baba will use our body for rituals. They will use our organs, stuff like that. So out of fear, we gave them our password and stuff. So they now opened our phone, collected all the whole money in our account, in my account. They collected all the whole money in my account and went ahead to borrow loan. And even the loan own, I didn't even know that they already did that, because I think when they opened my app, they saw my BVN and all. So that was where they got the information from.
At the time, the FCT police insisted that prevention is the first defense.
What we are doing in the rush hour now, we have bus stop policing strategy. The moment people are closing from work, we have our plainclothes operative and patrol team positioned around bus stop. What we want to appeal to people is that they should try as much as possible to use designated bus stops where they bought vehicle. When you see people standing alone looking for fast vehicle, they fall into the hands of this criminal. And this is the challenge we're having.
However, in a city with no clearly marked transport system, how many people know where these designated stops are? Recently, lawyers from the Abuja chapter of the Nigerian Bar Association mourned the death of one of their own, Miss Mediatrix Chigbo. Miss Chigbo, a former treasurer of the Abuja Bar, was killed by suspected criminals who engage in this one-chance crime. Her lifeless body was recovered on January the 7th, 2026, a day after she left her house for work along the Kubwa Expressway. Cases of one-chance robberies have resurfaced in the nation's capital following the Yuletide. These lawyers are taking a walk to the FCT police to call for action to address the situation.
What are we asking for? Enough is enough. Can I hear you again? Enough is enough. What do we want?
This incident of one chance, the police, we are not going to teach them how to do their job. It is their job to protect lives and properties. And we think that if they do it better, at least we can reduce it to the barest minimum. In just this week, we have had 2 incidents.
What is happening in our transport system in the FCT? This is an urban society, for Christ's sakes, particularly the Federal Capital Territory. And we believe that if the FCT minister decides, all that needs to happen is for that decision to happen. If he decides and wills it, we believe that he will apply the same seriousness with which he tackles other things. We've seen the improvements in the state of roads in the FCT. Can we not have an improvement in security in the FCT?
On the same day that the body of Miss Chigbo was discovered, another body was recovered in another location of the nation's capital. The body is that of a nurse with the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, Miss Chinemerem Chukwumeziem. Questions are asked as to why the security agencies can't trace these perpetrators.
The modus operandi of these people is so basic that I don't know why they are not caught yet. The experience and my interaction with the person that this happened to in December, they took an ATM card and they used a POS to be drawing money from it. That is basic, that is so pedestrian, and I don't know, the money must have gone to an account. So why are the people not apprehended? Who is the owner of that account? Who subscribed for that POS? Those are basic things that could be traced easily. For the money, even if the money had been taken from that account, where was it transferred to? Banks are involved. These are transactions that could be easily traced. So I don't want to say that it begins to have an appearance that it's a security system even with self-compromise, that they don't really want to go to the root of this.
The delegation is received at the headquarters of the FCT Police Command by the current FCT Police Commissioner, who pledges to ensure that justice is served.
We've arrested some of them, so many of them, and we thought that we were getting to the root of it. But it's so unfortunate that of very recent, we lost these vibrant Nigerians in persons of Princess Chigbo, and a nurse, Chinemerem. It is so very unfortunate. As painful as it is, we have decided to re-strategize, and we will continue to do our best to ensure that we send them completely out of FCT. We have, on these 2 cases and many other ones that have been reported, launched very serious investigations headed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Criminal Investigation Department. And I am sure that by the grace of God, the investigation will lead us to apprehending even much more of those people.
The FCT Police Commissioner, as his predecessors did, is calling on residents of the nation's capital to remain security conscious and vigilant, especially when boarding commercial vehicles. It is pertinent to note, however, that until technology demands more than a 4-digit PIN to open a financial life, and until Abuja commuters have a safe, reliable transport network, stepping into the wrong vehicle could mean you lose more than your valuables. As seen in recent events, you could lose your life. My guest tonight is Dr. Peter Olumuji, the FCT Administration's Secretary, Command and Control Center. Dr. Peter Olumuji, welcome again to Dateline Abuja and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and thanks for having me.
I mean, it's interesting. We always start the year with you.
Can you just imagine?
Because you start off the year while everyone is busy doing Christmas and New Year's. We know that you're busy checking crime and criminality in the FCT. How has it been covering the FCT during the Yuletide, and what operations do you have ongoing?
Yeah, during the Yuletide, it has been a successful one because there was this heightened apprehension that the Yuletide season will come with a lot of security threats, and the Minister of the Federal Capital was particular about ensuring that people celebrate the Yuletide season safe and secured. And they had to have emergency meetings with the security agencies, and the Commissioner of Police, FCT, assured him with all other service commanders that they will put in all their best to make every resident of the FCT enjoy the Yuletide.
So there was no incident?
And that happened.
No incident at all?
No incident at all. And that is because there is a strong synergy among the various agencies in the Federal Capital Territory.
I see that your office is still, you know, dismantling shanties and whatnot. And some of the complaints that people have about the dismantling of shanties, and we've talked about this so many times, me and you on this program, is the fact that when you dismantle those shanties, the places go fallow. And in a week or two, the people come back again and rebuild those shanties. And then there's also the question about the fact when you destroy those shanties, some people think you're basically unleashing criminals on the FCT residents because, you know, where do they go to? They come and they start to sleep in motor parks and whatnot. But then our streets aren't safe anymore.
You know, when people's perception out there will come because some do not really understand how the security operations are being carried out. At every point in time, we just don't go into any place to demolish shanties. It is always driven by high level of intelligence gathering that have been made. And what the FCT Police Commissioner focused on more is preventive and preemptive measures in tackling security. So under the Operation Sweep, which is one of the main operations that is ongoing right now, you know, under the Operation Sweep, the mandate is to ensure that the residents of the FCT will have a peaceful time in the FCT, and they have various objectives. And part of the objective is the removal of shanties. These shanties, we all know, harbors criminal elements. And if you allow these criminal elements to remain there, then they are the people that start to attack the residents. So what do we do? What we do now, based on the intelligence-driven actions, we go in there and remove them. And to a large extent, these criminal elements do not remain in the FCT. They move out because
they
FCT
go back to their
state or wherever they want to go, but not in FCT. But most of the time, people think, oh, when you remove them from point A, they go to point B. No.
Yes.
And again, I want to also restate here, just like the Honorable Minister have said, somebody has been given a plot of land, you have refused to develop it. Then these people that build shanties now come there to hibernate. Now, if the minister decides to revoke such a land, the news you will hear out there will be totally different. Nobody will link it to insecurity. So that is why we are using this medium to encourage those who own plot of land that are undeveloped to start to develop them. When you do this, as you take over occupy those areas, these bad boys too will not have a safe haven to stay.
The Nigerian Bar Association recently had a protest march, and rightfully so. One of their colleagues was killed during these one-chance operations. They're basically robbers and kidnappers. Yeah. It does feel like, and then of course we heard about the nurse who was also killed by one-chance operators. It feels like it's rearing its ugly head again in the FCT.
Well, it's very unfortunate that those two incidences had to come up early this year, and all the success stories that were recorded, it's as if we've not done anything. But notwithstanding, if you look at October to December 2025, over 41 kidnappers were apprehended. And if you also look at within that same period of 3 12 one-chance operators syndicates were busted and apprehended, and 8 victims were rescued. One basic thing you should know, that nobody is happy that such an incident occurred. We felt very, very bad. And that also caused that we are going to redouble our effort, and that's what we have been doing. In fact, we realized that people are not taking personal security very, very serious. We are not saying the incident that occurred to these two beloved sisters of ours is because of that. But we want to also use this avenue to advise people to take personal security very serious. Just like I tried to carry out a social survey, during the period. Firstly, I got a commercial vehicle, a painted Abuja commercial vehicle with a friend inside. And we said, okay, let's go around and let the driver pick up passengers. And 1 or 2 people entered, females, and all through the journey of 15 minutes, they were all on their phone, chatting on WhatsApp and the rest. Then we also did it with an unpainted vehicle also. And the result was still the same thing. Now, why am I bringing up this? What that simply says is that most people are not conscious of their environment, especially when they are inside a commercial vehicle. And these people try to look at vulnerable people, people that know are not really conscious of their, aware of the environment. And that's when they can spring these surprises. And we also want to advise, anytime you find yourself in such a difficult situation, try as much as possible not to struggle with them. Just like the popular saying goes, it says, do not struggle with a man with a gun. Likewise, if you find yourself in such a situation, let your safety be number one. And how can you stay alive?
Yes. Not to cut, because I don't want to miss that point.
Okay.
The people who allegedly carried out that one-chance operation on the barrister, I hear they've been apprehended?
Yes. At least 3 of them have been apprehended.
They confessed?
Yes, they confessed that they are the one that committed the crime. And also, part of what they talked about is that the barrister was not cooperating with them, and that is why they did that. So we are using this medium to also advise. If you find yourself in such a very tight situation, just cooperate with them. And one good thing is that when you do that, after you have been released and you give law enforcement information, they will continue to track them. What law enforcement did was to use the woman's phone, the barrister's phone, to get these suspects who have surely confessed. And investigations are still ongoing to apprehend others too. Now, if you look at one of the new directives by the CBN towards the end of the year, they talked about every POS operators that they should be registered, and they have some guidelines. Now, for this particular one, the police, through interagency collaboration with the CBN and the rest, that's when they were able to make that arrest. And for the transfer, because one of the things we've even heard is that when they abduct such a person, they start to tell you to call your family members, they transfer money into your account, and they use POS to do that. Part of the investigation ongoing is to unravel those accounts that the money went to. And that's not what I'll be talking about here right now. And again, we should know that under the FCT Police Command, we have this special crack squad called the Scorpion Squad. They are an elite squad that have been doing a wonderful job. And if you also look at the anti-kidnapping team, they've also been doing a very wonderful job.
I mean, it's fantastic, all the work. And you are correct. These teams have been working very hard. But as we wrap up, you know, and maybe you can speak to this, as long as we don't have a functional transport system in the FCT, as long as it's not as coordinated as it should be, people are going to be entering along. Or at least what people call along. And most of these one-chance operations happen with along vehicles.
Yes, and mostly it is the women that always fall victim.
It's because you've been standing in an inconvenienced place, inconveniencing position for a while, you're not comfortable and you want to go home, it's getting late, and you don't have actual buses that are coming to pick people up. It's always some makeshift arrangement.
Well,
that particular transportation issue, if it's not sorted in the FCT, no matter how many squads you have, this along matter and this one chance operation thing, is it ever going to be stopped?
No, part of what we are focused on under the operation sweep is to dismantle illegal motor parks. The Transportation Secretariat is also trying to see how they can provide more bus stops closer to the people. But again, you cannot have bus stops everywhere. Even in other climb, you don't have that. But you have them at designated.
It's the buses. The problem is not the terminal. I'm coming. It's the buses themselves.
I'm coming. The Transportation Secretariat of the FCT administration, they are working very, very hard in providing a template that will be more organized for the FCT residents. And that is coming up very soon. But one thing I should advise our people, when you are going out there to board any vehicle, be conscious of yourself. Use of cell phone when you are approaching or inside. Be conscious of your environment. That is what is called personal security. And remember, when we all play our own role too, it's called collective responsibility. You help the security agencies as they do their own work.
There's a number, isn't there?
Yes, the police control room number.
Do you have it by heart?
Yes.
Okay. What's the police control room number?
080-3200-3913.
So if you find yourself in any situation,
just call the FCT control room number. And within less than 5 minutes, there'll be a response team there.
Well, Dr. Peter Olumuji, I want to thank you very much for making out the time to be with us on Dateline Abuja, and good luck with all the work I know you have ahead of you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Please be safe and let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handle showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.